Hi, I'm Ronan Harris from VNV Nation. I'm the singer, producer, songwriter, graphic artist, social media, label manager, t-shirt, merchandise production manager. I do all the designs, it's my passion. Empires was the album that rocketed us to larger populations. It's the album that a lot of people grabbed onto very emotionally, the older generation of fans, and became this kind of almost rallying point to express people's feelings at the time. And then Future Perfect was the follow-up for a lot of people to their first experience with VNV Nation. So it became this mythical album. It's gained this mythical status, which I don't entirely agree with, but that's not my call. I think people, if you like a band, they always have a mythical album that people love, and even if it doesn't sound as good when you listen to it, it still has this special significance in your mind. Automatic represents the newer generation. For me, it's actually my favorite album. I'd say Automatic and Transnational are my two favorite albums, but in a way it was my opposite to Empire. The Empires went through a very dark time, and Automatic was me going through a time of great positivity and focus and being able to command a lot of things in my life in the way I'd always wanted to. So I saw it as two albums that would have the most traction with fans, because they were the albums that most, not all obviously, fans would want to see performed live, because they're the best cross-section of songs. And they're the songs that for a lot of people are timeless, or they're the catchiest, or I don't know, they're just the anthems. It was really just to do something for fans that started with a show in Germany where we were supporting a youth club who needed help to basically just generate some income to finance the organization. So we did this show, and it was like a tiny little venue, and we packed the place out. It was like tickets were sold out in about an hour. And I mean, it was a fun thing, but like I could step one step to the left, one step to the right, and we had minimal lighting, and it was punk. And it was absolutely one of the most energetic nights. It's like, you just don't forget your first shows when you are completely fired up and you've got like 150 people, and the distance between you and the audience is that, and you're in the audience pretty much performing, and it was like that. So, you know, we've evolved as a band, playing these bigger and bigger venues, and I still love playing the venues where there's only like 50 people in the place, or there's 150 or 200 people, and then we go off and do shows in Germany. We played it like at a festival to 25,000 people. And people say, well, is there a difference? Like, yeah, there's a big difference, but not in us. We put on the same show. We try to engage the audience. That's the show. So after that, German fans wanted us to play it. We arranged a ton of shows, did those. And then from that, American fans started to ask, like, can we see this? So I said, well, okay. It's been a very emotional ride for a lot of people. Like, people finding this was the album that gave them the words at the most difficult time in their life. And I find that incredibly humbling. And I've heard that we do a meet and greet at the end of every show, and people are coming up, and those who are brave enough to speak about it are sharing some of the most heart-wrenching stories. And it's just things humans go through. And it's a very humbling thing when someone says, this song stopped me from doing the worst thing, if you know what I mean, without sort of spelling it out. But yeah, it's happened quite a few times. I hear things like that. They're quite heavy to hear. But people sharing all kinds of stories. They're triumphant stories. They're victory stories. Like, that's who I was then. This is who I am now. And they're coming to the show, and it's almost like for them, it's a yardstick of how far they as people have progressed. That all sounds like a therapy, right? But anyway, it's an affirmation of who you are as a person. I mean, we grow up feeling different. We're different than the normal people, or the people who like to define themselves as normal. There is no such thing as normal. These albums are my diary. So it's a weird experience. It doesn't matter how many times I play it, Dark Angel will always kick out. If it's Future Perfect, Carbon will always do something to me. I don't know, that song just does something to me. It doesn't mean that the other songs I'm numb to them or something like that, but there's something very, very unique and very special in those. In Automatic, it'll always be Radio and Resolution. Resolution is a song that forever I hope I will get goosebumps every single time. The hair on my arm stands up every time I hear the beginning of that song. It's like waiting for the best sunrise to happen. It's just, I don't know how to explain it. It's just pure ecstasy. and for me, I go nuts. I nudge people in concerts to, they have feelings inside, they're humans, and a lot of people are very reticent at concerts, they're very withheld, and they keep their emotions under wraps. And really what I want to do is just let it out. Feel it, it's incredible, just do it. And don't worry about what anyone else thinks, because everyone else is doing the same thing. And allow yourself that moment in your life. I do, and I think it's an incredibly therapeutic, here we are back with a therapeutic, very beneficial thing. But then people go to the concerts because they know this. So I was like not a religious experience. I hear that comment a lot, and I disagree with that. But it's just an incredibly intense experience. So for me, songs that matter a great deal. Empires was a very, very dark time in my life, and it was a way for me to, Praise the Fallen was before it, and it was me seeing what was to come, and Empires was after it, watching the disintegration of everything around me in my life. So those are very, very special cardinal moments in my life. Writing Empires was a catharsis. It was being able to say all the things I'd ever wanted to say in my life at that point in my life because of who I was. So for me, I'm going back to who I was then. That's a really weird thing. And then I'm playing automatic, and it's the after. And that process between it was this long evolution. And it's I urge you to try it sometime. It really puts your mind in perspective about the importance of some things in life, and really realizing what actually matters, what doesn't. Some people say, "You saved me." It's like, no, we were the words you needed to hear, but it just put your mind in the right place. That's all. You do the work. I'm not standing there doing the work. I'm not the one picking you up and carrying you away. But songs have saved me in that they gave me a feeling inside that just put everything in the right place, where I didn't feel so alone, or I didn't feel so helpless, or whatever, or I felt inspiration comes from the word inspiratus. It's like or inspiritus. It's really the expression of you're filled with some zeal, some spirit, and it's like you're facing a situation you don't know how to get out of, or you're wondering how to deal with a lot of issues in life, and something puts you in the right perspective and gives you that focus. It's just that one thing that happens, it just changes everything, and you make a decision based on that. That's really all it is. It just puts you in the right place, puts your head in the game. I think smaller crowd concentrates, focuses it more. If you play at a festival, I mean, we play shows in Europe, we play to 2,000 people or whatever in Germany. And I mean, we do shows like that in LA. If you get the mass effect, the momentum, people get drawn into it, which is fine. They're in this amazing experience with other people, and they share it. It's just something wonderful that happens. And that's what I hope to always achieve. But festivals, there's just people there who are at a festival. There's a lot of people who are there to see the bands, like, wow, it's a really cool band, nice light show. Then I think in the intimate setting where you're playing like the 200, 150 to 200 to maybe 300 people, it becomes a very personal affair, because I wanted it to be a small, cut down, back to our roots kind of tour. And in most cases, it's worked that way. I mean, San Diego would be the perfect example. We played a punk club. Everything was just like, everyone was just crammed into this place. Sound system was okay. That's my nice way of saying it. And in the end, everybody had this incredible experience because it was just energetic, powerful. San Francisco was the same. Tiny like club, but just this really intense experience. And I think for fans who this is generally aimed at, as a sort of, you want to see two of your favorite albums rather than someone who's going to go see a new tour or something like that for a new album. It's a very, very personal experience, and I've seen that a lot. So it has a whole different dynamic all itself. Plus, I do the meet and greet. I don't treat myself as a celebrity. I don't treat myself as a VIP. I don't want to. I know when I've got to be careful. You have to. There's sometimes when you do, but I don't ever want to be different or treated differently than other people or anything like that. So to be honest, there's a lot of engagement that goes on during the show. A lot of talking to the audience and basically, just interacting with people, because it's their show, not mine. That's what they're there for. And I want them to have that experience that I'm trying to make for them. The experience of the show has just been, I think, intense for so many people. I'm reading the reviews online and people saying there was no distraction of it being a big, grandiose show. It's a pure and simple band, lights, sound, and the crowd. It's like taking it down to its basics. People dance, and everybody, for the most part, looks after each other. It's a really something I'm very proud of with the people who come to our shows. Someone drops something, everyone will stop, everyone will look for it. Seriously, it's absolutely incredible to watch. We had, what was it, Phoenix. The owner of the venue came up to us afterwards and said, you guys can play here every single day of the week because your crowd put their garbage away. He said, we've never had that before. You know, we don't have that. He said, your crowd were helping each other out. Someone needed to get in and they were like, oh, pardon me, come on, you go in first because somebody needed more time to get in. And they were like, no, let's take that person out of the queue and put them in first. Like, they really look after each other for the most part. It's a very benevolent kind of thing. I love it. I mean, I don't know how it happens, it just happens. So in a small setting, people can have their own experience. There's no kind of that it's so crammed. We don't allow that here, which is great. Like when a gig is full, there's still room. Stand around the sides, watch the band, no problem. You want to get in and dance, everybody's dancing. People are singing, people are yelling, people are having whatever fun they want. All I do is we sing our songs, we hope that it will engage them and it will invoke something. And I try to encourage, and I try to get them to, you know, move a bit, what have you, sing a bit, loosen up a bit, whatever. It's not like a fitness workout or something like that. But then I run around for 3 hours doing, like last year we did this tour called the Compendium Tour. And I was running around for 3 hours. And people were asking, like, how do you do it? It's like, you know, some people have got great cardio, some people don't. And you're just inspired. You're just loving it. The people were staying for the full 3 hours. They were like, this is amazing. So I don't, it's not something I can do. No person has that control. You just hope that they like the songs, they like the music, they're there for that reason. So it's a fun experience. It's just, as long as you can get them to loosen up a bit, the night is awesome. Audience interaction is a lot bigger in North America than it is in Europe. The reason is that people don't yell out heckles, or not heckles, but there's no kind of this sort of to and fro joking and laughing thing that happens in Europe. It's more common here for people to joke and laugh with you, or it's easier. Does that make sense? Like we had this kind of thing going on a couple of years ago. I was looking for him the other night in Dallas, or in Austin, sorry, for this guy who was wearing a gas mask at one of the shows, and I have there's this track we normally play called Perpetual, where people sort of sing this melody, and I got the whole audience to shut up just so I could shove the microphone in his face, like music off, everything, just so he could sing it. And yeah, it was just hilarious because all you could hear through a gas mask was him doing it. As in, people become part of the show. It's very much the individual. I think Europeans are they're more group oriented, and Americans are, North Americans, I would say, are much more individual. So it becomes like just a gathering of a lot of people who somehow gel. Cool. I would say British audiences would blow anyone away as far as loudness, volume, and intensity, and just their sheer like craziness of the concerts. Swedes, again, right on par with the Norwegians, Danes, the same. There is no concert in Europe where I would say that the audience is mellow or just stood there. There is a problem with a lot of shows where people stand there and they stare at a show because that's what they're trained to do. You go in, you watch a band, like it's TV or something, just happening in front of you. And I think I don't see ourselves as being a concert. It's more of a party. So, of sorts. And I think it really depends as well on the city. Like you go somewhere like New York where they've seen everything, done everything, and it's just like, look at it, okay, we've seen this band. Yeah, that's cool. You know, I prefer them, 3 albums ago. Oh, I saw them at this, that kind of crap. And it can happen in LA, and yet we have the complete opposite experience. So I can't speak for general population, can't speak for other bands, but we do not have that experience. Not in any city or any country in Europe. I think it's really how you engage them, or also how they receive you. Every audience, every city has its own way of perceiving your band. And I accept that. I don't say one band or one city is, oh, that was a sucky show or something like that, because every show has got its own unique dynamic. I'm very observant and I'm watching everything that's going on, and I recognized that years ago, that every place, what I thought was a bad show wasn't a bad show. I had no experience at the beginning to even understand what to expect. I kind of slowly grew in experience with like how people react to shows. I just want them to feel a little bit more elevated in their lives. At the minimum, that's all. That they feel that they got something beneficial, that they got something great out of the show. That's it. Beyond that, everything else is a bonus. And it really is. You can't ask for it, you can't expect it, you can't say, I want that, because that just leads to disappointment. I would just say, as long as they feel their lives have been somewhat bettered by the show, that's all I can ask for. Anything beyond that, I'm blessed, so I'm happy with it. And I mean that genuinely. I know it sounds like I'm playing you a line, but we've played shows where I didn't really know what they got out of it. They were happy, but I didn't know like how happy or whatever. But then there's other shows where people come up afterwards and they're telling you, oh my God, it was incredible. You get that feedback. So you got to learn over years, like what works, what doesn't. And it's just, it becomes a game of understanding that all I can expect is that people feel that they got a good show. And that's something I take, I beat myself up. I'm very, very critical of myself. I don't share that with other people because they'd probably jump on me and probably like victimize me over it. But I take what I do seriously, so I can get angry with myself. I think everybody who takes their job seriously can do that. Our sound guy our light guy, they do a bad job. They feel personally responsible for it. And I'm not saying this because our sound guy is hiding behind a partition over there. I'm sure he feels terrible if he does a bad job. I'm joking. We all take what we do seriously. We all want the best for the people who are there, because without them, there's absolutely no reason for us to be there.